It's Wednesday. Are you ready to rumble? Joining me for tonight's Lone Liberal Rumble are Francesca Chambers, editor and publisher with Red Alert Politics, and Austin Petersen, libertarian commentator and director of production at Freedom Works. And thank you both for being with us tonight. Let's get started.
Thank you.
You heard what I had to say in the rant. Should helping Americans recover from devastating natural disasters really be left up to churches and corporate executives, Francesca?
Well, first of all, I want to talk about your characterization of Republicans thinking that we shouldn't all be in this together. Just today, Republican Governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, and President Obama worked together to help solve this disaster in New Jersey.
Do you think Chris Christie would be doing that if he wasn't running for re-election next year in a blue state?
I think that Chris Christie was most interested in helping the people of his state, and I don't understand why we're trying to politicize something as simple as Chris Christie doing what he thought was best for his state.
Because the Republicans in the House of Representatives have cut FEMA funding every time the budgets come up.
But we're not talking about the Republicans in the House of Representatives. You said, that Republicans in general think that we're not all in this together, and I'm giving you a clear example of when a Republican and a Democrat just today came at it together and did what was best for the country and best for the state.
So Republicans do what's best for the country when their butt's on the line. But in the abstract, or if they're from Congress from Wyoming,
Chris Christie's butt's not on the line. I just want to point out that there's an election coming up, but it's not Chris Christie's. But I'll let you go.
And it's going to be a title
Republicans, Democrats, two wings, the same bird, the Libertarian says. But you asked earlier if the churches should be the ones that should be handling this. And I say yes, absolutely, because in 2005, when Hurricane Katrina happened, there were 2,500 people, all but 7 families, I believe, that were evacuated by the LDS, the Church of Latter-day Saints, that came in and they offered assistance, a rescue program that they had already set up. They had in place a telephone rescue service and an emergency plan that they used. Now, Mitt Romney,
like FEMA did
but this was done by
the George W. Bush administration.
This was done by people who actually did care. This was not done by some faceless bureaucrat in Washington. These were done by the people in those communities.
So we should turn everything over to the Mormon Church.
We should turn over. I would give the Mormon Church a much better credit than the United States government for taking care of our citizens. Absolutely. I'm not a Mormon myself, but I give a lot of respect to the Mormon Church.
So then you're agreeing with the Republicans who say FEMA should not be in this business. You're disagreeing with Francesca.
Well, I agree with...
actually what I said at all. I just want to make the point that I did not say that at all. I was specifically addressing your comment about Republicans not being willing to come together with Democrats in times of need. Now, when it comes to, the private sector taking better care of it, I personally don't think that we should get rid of FEMA. That's my personal opinion. And I don't think that that's what Mitt Romney thinks either, which is how this topic specifically came up. I think that the former Governor Romney was simply saying that we should give more power to the states and the local governments.
Paul Ryan called for a 35% cut in FEMA. Just a plain old flat out 35%
because here's the thing, are we having more and more natural disasters every year?
Yes,
no,
as a matter of fact, we are, according to Swiss Re.
No, we're not. We're having, we had 28 FEMA declarations during the Reagan administration, 44 during the first Bush, 90 during Clinton, then 130 during Bush II, and 153 so far during Obama's term. Are you telling me that our weather is getting so out of control that it's metastasizing of emergency declarations?
I would strongly recommend. I would strongly recommend. Do you know what a reinsurance company is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. The reinsurance companies are the companies that backstop the insurance companies. When the insurance companies get wiped out, they have insurance with reinsurance companies. Swiss Re is the largest in the world. 6-7 years ago, Swiss Re issued a report, which they have basically reissued every year, saying that looking at the best science in the world, it is getting more and more expensive to insure against natural disasters. They want the world to stop emitting all this carbon. They are telling insurance companies, look out. They're raising their rates. Yes, I strongly...
And they have less and less incentive, but Tom, they have less and less incentive to insure people. No, because the government steps in and says, we will offer you insurance. When the government steps in and says that they will offer insurance...
That's not what Swiss Re is saying. What Swiss Re is saying is we're getting wiped out.
You're getting rid of the incentive for the private market to come in and do it. Here's the problem. If you really want more localism, liberals always talk about localism.
This has nothing to do with localism.
Yes, it does. You have to create a culture.
This has to do with the entire nation
are reliant
being
on one
in this
another.
Together. More Rumble right after the break.
Here's Mitt Romney trying to figure out the name of that thing that we Americans call a donor. I'm sorry. I'm just a guy who cares an awful lot about my country.
You, sir, are a fool. You know what? That is mine.
Are there terrorist cells in your neighborhood?
The far left does not want the USA to defeat terrorism.
You cannot be a liberal and a Christian.
Republicans lie.
It's really so stupid.
You know, the corporate media distracts us from what you and I should care about because they're a profit-driven industry that sells us sensationalistic garbage. and calls it breaking news. I'm Abby Martin, and we're going to break the set.
Governor Romney and I, we both agree.
We agree. We ought to bring the tax rates down.
I felt the same as the president did.
Governor Romney, I'm glad that you agree.
But let's come back to something the president and I agree on.
And the two of you agree that the voters have a choice between the two of you.
Wondering who to vote for when Romney and Obama agree on so many things? Remember, you do have other options come November 6th. Tune in to see the second round of debates between the major third-party candidates right here on RT.
I will fight for oil, coal, and natural gas.
I also promise that I fight every single day on behalf of the American people.
Take it, go to Congress, fight for it. I have my own plan.
Welcome back to the Lone Liberal Rumble. Joining me tonight, Francesca Chambers and Austin Petersen. Let's get back to it. Yesterday, the Romney campaign turned a scheduled campaign rally into a so-called storm relief event to help those affected by Hurricane Sandy. The campaign encouraged supporters to bring hurricane relief supplies and food to the rally and deliver them right to Mitt Romney's hands. But since this was a carefully crafted event by the Romney camp, they made sure to look good by spending $5,000 at a local Walmart on food that would be on display at the event, while supporters were given canned goods to hand to Romney. And at the so-called relief event, the 10-minute video about Romney's life, which was first shown at the RNC, was shown. So wasn't this event more about politics and campaigning than actually helping those affected by Hurricane Sandy, Austin?
$5,000 to give to the homeless? I mean, even if it
No, it wasn't to give to the homeless. It was to buy stacks of food so that they could.
But they weren't going to distribute it to the rescue for the rescue effort. I mean, isn't that a nice thing? I mean, whether or not
if you have $5,000 worth of canned goods in Ohio and you call up the Red Cross in New Jersey and say we've got a ton and a half of canned goods to send to you, they're going to say don't send it.
Okay, and wait a minute. And Mitt Romney is getting these $5,000 for canned goods that they're going to send. And then what is Barack Obama doing at his fundraisers? He's letting people die in Benghazi and Libya. So,
come on.
Yeah.
Well, again, I would reject the politicization again of this storm relief in this disaster. I think it's funny that the left likes to criticize, conservatives over things like Benghazi and saying that Mitt Romney and the Republicans are politicking over that. But yet, literally, we are discussing whether Mitt Romney did or did not want to help out by giving to charity, by helping with the storm relief
No, we're
disaster.
actually discussing whether or not Mitt Romney wanted to turn out helping out into a campaign stunt. Buying $5,000 worth of canned goods so you can use it as a prop. And I mean, people standing in line, they said to people, when you come, bring something to give, right? A lot of people in line didn't have anything to give. So they handed it to them. They handed them, here's a jar of peanut butter. Give this to, for this is like Paul Ryan's photo op.
That whole entire notion that it was a stunt. I'm sorry.
It was a stunt.
No, it wasn't a stunt. Here's exactly what they did. One, there were people who showed up at the event, and there were some volunteers, people who did not work for the campaign, volunteers who felt bad, as I would do, for the people who showed up to the event and didn't bring canned goods, maybe didn't know that it had turned into a hurricane event, and so they said still, they still let them into the event.
Said, if you give us a $1 can of beans, it's going to cost us $1.50 to get that to New Jersey. Instead, give us the $1. We'll go to the community closest to New Jersey that's still intact. We'll buy those beans and deliver them for 5 cents.
But the Red Cross didn't necessarily tell that to the Romney campaign beforehand and say,
don't have this.
And said,
please don't send us food.
It would be better off if they were to donate blood or other items, right?
Blood or money. That's it. That's all the Red Cross wants.
How are they supposed to know that? And the Romney campaign
because it's on the front page of every newspaper.
These are the kind of stunts that campaigns are pulling off all the time.
I'm sorry, and I'm a reporter. So
come on.
I'm being dead serious. My whole entire point, though, is that Mitt Romney is a very charitable man. This is the guy who literally gave all the money he made from the Olympics to charity. He gave $1 million of his money to charity. He rejected his salary as governor.
This guy makes $90,000 a day.
He gave all of his money from his inheritance away as well, and he gave $30 million to his church last year.
He did not give away the money from his inheritance. His wife says that they lived on it while they were in college.
How much has Barack Obama's net worth gone up since he was elected? I think it was worth $1 million before he was elected, and it was worth $18 million now. So his net worth has increased.
Sold a bunch of books.
Okay, yeah, he sold a lot of books, right? Your net worth goes up when you become president of the United States. People become much more interested in doing business with you.
People are not doing business with people. No.
Right, yeah, lots of people like this.
That is a nonsense.
My point being that Mitt Romney is a very charitable person. If you look at his past, I don't think that you can deny that he has always been a very charitable person, and he was trying to do something for charity, and I don't think it should be politicized.
If you believe that, I honor your faith. Mitt Romney has released a new radio ad in his favorite subject, the auto industry. Take a listen.
Who will do more for the auto industry? Not Barack Obama. Fact checkers confirm his attacks on Mitt Romney are false. The truth? Mitt Romney has a plan to help the auto industry. He's supported by Lee Iacocca and the Detroit News. Obama took GM and Chrysler into bankruptcy and sold Chrysler to Italians who are going to build Jeeps in China. Mitt Romney will fight for every American job.
I'm Mitt Romney, and I approve this message.
The only problem with this ad is it's 100% false. Even the CEO of Chrysler felt compelled to rebut the ad, saying Jeep production will not be moved from the United States to China. It is inaccurate to suggest anything different. The statement came after a group of Jeep employees went to their union reps freaking out that they were going to lose their jobs. GM responded to the ad, too, saying, at this state, we're looking at a Hubble telescope length distances between campaign ads and reality. Is this blatantly false ad part of Mitt Romney's strategy for regaining support from American auto workers? And if so, Austin, how is all this lying going to work for him?
No, I think the CEO of GM has got this all wrong, because the Jeep Liberty, from what I understand, is 68% manufactured in China as we speak right now.
There's no discussion right now about moving Jeep manufacturing offshore to China.
Well,
Romney said in a campaign event
that
it was going to happen because they make them in Ohio. The Ohio voters care about it.
We can get cheaper goods and services here in the United States.
The Ohio...
Wait, you hate pollution. Don't you want less pollution in the United States? Wouldn't you rather we have these things manufactured in places like China and Japan?
You're going to try and filibuster me with nonsense. Come on, Austin. We're talking about Mitt Romney lying. We're not, we can have an abstract conversation some of the time about the values of offshoring.
I agree. I don't think that he is lying. Even the Washington Post looked at it and said that what he said was technically true.
Right.
And I wouldn't consider
incredibly
Washington Post on the side of Mitt Romney.
No. Okay, well, here's the larger question then. Do we really, as I said, Mitt Romney, some of his lies, right? The PolitiFact, right? Regulations have quadrupled. The rate of regulations quadrupled under this president. Actually, it's gone down slightly in the last 3.5 years. 1 year, President Obama provided $90 billion in green energy breaks into solar and wind. Not true. President Obama has doubled the deficit. Actually, the deficit has gone down since he came into office. Right now, the Congressional Budget Office says up to 20 million people will lose their insurance as Obamacare goes into effect. He totally pulled this out of his rear.
What world are you living in?
48, 49
2 years after
I'm
Dodd-Frank,
reading this from
after
PolitiFact.
Obamacare?
This is from, no, you don't, you're not going to filibuster me with nonsense, with completely unrelated issues.
Can we read the PolitiFact on, no, I'm just going to say, can we read the PolitiFact page for all of Obama's lies? I'd really love to see that page. Let's talk about that.
They're all liars. They're politicians, please. This is a sham election in our sham democracy,
This is not a sham election.
Yes, it is.
And you've got a guy who has been on every side of every issue, and I don't understand.
There's no substantive differences between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama.
How are we sitting here talking about Mitt Romney, liar in chief, when we are literally in a foreign policy crisis mode over what happened in Libya, over the White House?
We are not in a crisis mode.
You're right, we are, and we should be, because what happened in Libya is 100%.
I know you guys are trying to turn Obama into Jimmy Carter. It was leaked from the Romney campaign.
What I'm trying to do is talk about who the real liar in chief is here. I'm talking about how we're focusing on nitpicking like this when we literally have a president and a White House who may or may not be engaged in either some sort of a cover-up or gross incompetence on their behalf of
I know that this is the Republican meme that has been put out. Media Matters, in fact, I encourage you to check out MediaMatters.org, a long list of all the right-wing sites today who came out with this, and all of them reference absolutely no facts. Absolutely no effects. Oh, let's talk about Benghazi. Let's talk about Libya. This is not about Benghazi and Libya. This is about Mitt Romney lying on the campaign.
It is about Benghazi.
Let me finish your damn sentence here, Austin. When you shout over me or when I shout over you, people out here, people who are watching can't hear what we have to say. So this is about Mitt Romney coming out and with ads. I'm talking about these ads that are deceptive, and Chrysler and GM is saying they're lies.
We're sitting on a president who is sitting on $16 trillion of debt, $200 trillion, and you want to talk about the lies that come from some candidate who has not sat on the presidency. We have people who are dead in Libya. He sat around. He went to a Las Vegas fundraiser while people were dying. He did nothing. And you want to talk about canned goods? This is a farce.
It was not a fundraiser, first of all, and second, it was a campaign event. And secondly, of that $16 trillion of debt, how much was run up under
Where is the bleeding heart liberalism?
We're not talking about that. We're talking about Mitt Romney versus President Obama and the choice that Americans have to make next Tuesday. And you're sitting here trying to portray Mitt Romney as a liar, pants on fire. However, even you talk about
Newt Gingrich said he is.
You talk about his lying ads.
Rick Santorum said he is.
Right, they're both liars. So vote Gary Johnson.
You talk about the lying ads when even President Obama has said that that he's lied in his ads. That his ads have went way over the top a lot of times, and so I wouldn't say that all politicians are liars. Don't trust either of them. But what I am saying is that you're reading the PolitiFact of Mitt Romney.
Speaking of false ads,
sure.
Here's another one. Take a look. This is about welfare.
If you want to know President Obama's second-term agenda, look at his first. Gutted the work requirement for welfare, doubled the number of able-bodied adults without children on food stamps, record unemployment, more women in poverty than ever before, borrowed from China and increased the debt to over $16 trillion, passing the burden on to the next generation. We may have made it through President Obama's first term. It's our children who can't afford a second.
First of all, as I said, I find it rather ironic that Republicans are screaming about a $16 trillion debt when 10 or 11 trillion of that was run up by Republicans. And they've certainly put us on a course for the rest of it. But that said, gutted the work requirement for welfare, it's a flat-out lie. Everybody says it's a flat-out lie. Even the Romney campaign, back the first time that was pointed out as a lie, admitted it was a lie, although they're not now.
I would just like to go back to what you said just previous to that about you're literally zeroing in on one line of the campaign ad and completely
it's the essence of it.
It's not the essence of it. A lot of what was talked about was the $16 trillion debt and other issues that have nothing to do. But what I'm saying is that you're focusing in on one thing, which was the welfare to work requirement, and you're totally ignoring the greater point of the ad, which is that Obama has had 4 years, to do all the things for Americans that he says he wants to do in his second term.
5 million new jobs.
He has, that's all he's done is...
He stopped the hemorrhaging of our jobs.
He did create new jobs, but they really only made up for the jobs that had been lost during the time that he was president.
Job that he's created,
another job has been lost.
Right, no, 6 jobs. 6 people have stopped looking for work. So for every one that he's created, 6 people have stopped looking for work.
You've got the boomers retiring.
We have a 14% unemployment
They stopped looking for work because they're
numbers.
retiring.
Oh, come on,
You've got one of the biggest demographic bulges right now hitting retirement age.
Do you think that this is a growing economy? Is this a healthy economy in your estimation?
If you look at what happened, on January 20th,
this is corporatism, Tom.
If you ask a question, wait for an answer. If you look at what happened on January 20th, 2009, the night that Barack Obama was sworn into office, when Paul Ryan and 13 other Republicans, John Kyle and a whole bunch of them, sat in the Caucus Room restaurant and basically swore a blood oath with Frank Luntz and Newt Gingrich to block anything that Obama did. He had a supermajority, an unfilibusterable majority in the United States Senate for 2 months and 1 day. That was it.
The corporations are funding both sides, Tom.
They have done everything they can to destroy the economy.
We have a military-industrial complex and a corporatist economy. It's a bailout, stimulus economy that was instilled by your hero, FDR, and the New Deal. We have a totally fascist economy that's run by the corporations. It's a farce democracy that we live in. Nobody's talking about it but the third-party candidates.
I actually applaud the Republicans in the Senate for making sure that President Obama did not hurt our economy and didn't hurt America any more than he did. And I just fear what a second term would look like.
So you like their obstruction. Okay, Francesca Chambers, Austin Petersen, thanks for joining me tonight.